Is Metro still fun to play? You bet your ass it is. And if you wanna know why and get some tips and tricks, stick around and enjoy the video. Metro 2033, and that's the first and last time I'm gonna say that number, first made its way into our hearts on the 16th of March 2010, but it had a re-release in the Metro Redux package, which featured the first two games of the series, and it was released in the August of 2014. Where to even start with this one? You know what? Let's just start with the thing that impressed me the most, and that is the graphics of the game. Now, on the re-release of the game, 4A Games upgraded the graphics, and I'm happy to say that the game still looks really good. It holds up surprisingly well, and while obviously it does not compare with modern games such as Cyberpunk, it still offers a solid punch when it comes to the setting of the game and how the game makes the most of it. I still remember the moment when I went up to the surface for the first time, during daylight. The sun shining down to the metro was really something special, and it looked really good, although the game at this point in time with the re-release is like 7 years old. And considering that I'm not a snob when it comes to the visual aspect of games, I think this still is an impressive experience worth having for every respectable gamer. Now, I did play the game on 1440p with everything turned on high. Also, I had advanced physics turned on. Talking about advanced physics, beware guys and girls. If you tick that box, expect to get a hit on your FPS. I remember first time I started up the game, I was still using my older GPU, which is a Titan X Pascal from 2016. And I was really expecting to flex a bit on the game. But my willy shrunk quickly when the game had input lag because of the graphical settings, so I had to pull down the settings, the details, to medium. Now once I've installed my newer GPU, which is an RX 6800 XT, that was not a problem anymore, but remember, that's a newly released GPU on the market, so the game still has a punch on your hardware, but you can untick the advanced physics and everything is okay. Now, if you want to know what's advanced physics, you can search it on YouTube. I'm sure there's a ton of videos on it. You can see comparisons and make up your mind for yourself if it's worth it for you or not. Now, that being said, let's move on to the storyline a little bit, and without giving away too much here, the story of the game is based on the post-apocalyptic fiction novel from Dmitry Glukovsky. I hope I didn't butcher that one. That was released in 2002, and it's mostly about how people are trying to survive in the metro stations after a nuclear holocaust that left the surface of the Earth uninhabitable due to the radiations, unbreathable air, and all sorts of mutated monsters that now populate both the surface and the metros. The protagonist of the game is Artyom, a soldier in one of the metro stations that is trying to fight off the many challenges and monsters throughout his journey in order to help his people live a somewhat easier life. I gotta say, Artyom can be a little bit annoying at times, because throughout the whole game he doesn't say a word, and I really don't know why the writer or the game developer took that path, because it makes the dialogues sometimes really weird. But hey, I guess he's Tony Soprano's favorite type of guy, right?
The strong, silent type.
Let's jump into the meat of the dinner here, shall we? And talk about the gameplay. Straight out of the gate, I want to warn people that this game has a slower gameplay than what most of you might be used to. Don't expect the gameplay here to be something similar to Doom, where you jump into a pool of demons just to
rip and tear
them apart with your quick gunplay and your athletic moves. You move heavier here. Weapon reloading time might be longer on some of the weapons, and switching in between weapons can also make you grind your teeth. But it is with good purpose. The game is intentionally made like this to add to the tension and atmosphere of the game. And as a lifelong shooter player, I can safely say that I did not mind the slower gameplay here, because it did exactly what the game developer wanted to do. And that is to make you sharpen your senses, pay attention to every move that you make, and be as efficient as possible with your resources and actions, so that you get through each section of the game successfully. Now, that being said, I think it is very important to explore everything and anything that you can. You will always find resources throughout the metro tunnels and stations that are vital to your success, whether it's some air filters, bullets or medkits. The more you have, the better. Now, you have two types of ammos in the game, the standard lower tier one and the military grade ammo that was produced before the Great War of 2013 that takes place in the fictional world of the game. Therefore, these are of high quality, do more damage, and due to the fact that money lost its value after the war, these bullets are the main currency used to buy things throughout the game. You can also customize your weapons, and I strongly suggest to do that when you have the chance, but keep in mind that not every upgrade is something worth investing in. Like for example, if you choose to have 2 automatic rifles, maybe it's not the best idea to use suppressors on both of them, because that reduces the damage output of the weapon. Just use it on one of the weapons in case you have to take out enemies in a silent fashion. Also, the laser sight might not be something worth the investment in case you are limited in the resources that you have, because at the end of the day, you don't really need it, and it does not improve the damage output or any other properties of the weapon. Now, regardless of what weapons you choose to take with you into action, make sure you have a shotgun, because a lot of the sections of the game require you to be ready for close combat situations. And there is no better weapon other than the shotgun for these situations that the game puts you in. So I think a shotgun is vital. In case you are shooting enemies at a higher range or mid-range also, aiming to the head will help you do more damage obviously, and therefore will help you save ammo for the bigger and more important fights. Now I know that's an obvious thing to say, but some of the games don't work like that. In this case, aiming to the head will guarantee you to save some bullets on the long term. I mostly use the lower tier ammo through the game, but when shit hits the fan and there are some serious consequences and there's some serious action going on, I always use the military grade ammo, as these do more damage and you can easily take out an enemy with 2 or 3 taps, even if it's only hitting the body or the limbs, you know, the legs or the arm of the opposition, whether it's a monster or a human. Those work very well, and just keep in mind, don't spray with them, just tap guys, because those run out quickly if you don't pay attention. When you are in a mission that forces you to have some comrades with you, I think it's a good idea to let them do most of the shooting, as this will again help you save ammo for the important fights. Now that being said, be very careful. Most of the times the AI comrades are pretty good. I'm actually surprised at how good they are at shooting the opposition, so on and so forth. But they still do sometimes silly mistakes. Not often, but it happens, so you have to keep your eyes peeled. The human opposition also uses traps, so you have to be very careful with those. To pay attention, because it is very easy to lose track of those when you are in a tense situation and just want to get the heck out of the current spot that you find yourself in. You can also find keys throughout the stages. Usually these are only findable, so to say, if you really explore the levels, and as I said before, I strongly suggest you to do that, because the keys will therefore, you will find saves throughout the game, little saves, and usually these have some really nice resources in them. Most of the times it's ammo, the high grade ammo that I've talked a little bit earlier, and those are really worth it. The last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to gameplay is the air filters. Make sure you have enough, because if you lose track of those, you can easily run out of them. And if you do that, you will have to backtrack in the previous stages, or just to buy or to find some more. Otherwise, you will spawn at your last checkpoint, like this happened to me. You just spawn at your last checkpoint just to die over and over because of the lack of the air filters. Now, a trick that you can do to prolong the lifespan of these filters is to just take off your mask for a few seconds, and when Artyom starts to breathe heavily, just put it back on. This will help you save a few seconds each time you do it, but use this as a last resource type of thing. And as it's sometimes, obviously, it can be challenging in a certain spot if you fight enemies or so on and so forth. Also, a quick tip here: if you run out of if you run out of air filters in certain spots and don't want to backtrack, try searching for help on YouTube. You might find some videos that will help you, and yeah, just overall help you save some time if you don't want to backtrack, because it can be annoying. But if you are prepared, then this won't happen. But sometimes it, you know, the tension of the game, the atmosphere, which is really awesome, can force you to make some mistakes, like with the traps or like not having enough resources. So just be careful, guys, because I care for you. Now, all that being said, is the game really worth it? I believe it's still a banger of a game. The gameplay is great. Storyline and the setting of the game gives you a certain type of feeling, which is, it makes you feel small, but wants you to push forward just to help the people that are around you, that you love, that you care for. Now the game can be found on Steam, and while it's still 20 euros, which some of you might think that it's a lot for a game like this, that is this old, I still think it's worth it. You can actually get all the 3 games with all the DLCs for the last one for like 65 euros, I think, which is, again, I think it's a good deal, just because I haven't played the second one yet, and I'm sure I'm gonna make a video about it in the future, but I know for a fact that the third one is awesome, and this whole series is solid, and it didn't drop the ball in its sequels like some of the other series do, or have done in the past. So, in my humble opinion, yes, it is worth it. It's fun to play, and it's worth experiencing, you know, if you are a shooter player, but also if you just want to have a general idea of the history of the games, of the worthwhile games, so to say. And that's about it for this video, guys, today. If you enjoy what you see and you want to see more, stick around, subscribe to the channel, leave me some feedback, that's always welcomed. If you like Counter-Strike, I have another channel that you can find in the description box down below, you can check that one out. And that being said, until next time, stay safe, stay clean, and stay strong.